He who has ears to hear, let him hear. For this is a tale of an ancient kind. In the Word there lies existence, and the Word became flesh, and dwelt among us, and we saw its glory. Let him hear it who will.
The Crown creator Peter Morgan says he was inspired to focus on Queen Elizabeth's younger years while writing a play called The Audience and wanted to focus more on her before becoming queen. Michael First says he was inspired to make a show about the Vikings while writing a film script about Alfred the Great and discovered that the Vikings were stereotyped. George R. R. Martin attempted to have a sort of medieval realism than fantasy in Game of Thrones, as he said that the battle of good versus evil does not mirror the real world and the true horror comes from ourselves. Rant series co-creator Laurie McCarthy said that she chose the story of Mary Stuart as the number of husbands she had makes the story sexier. What could possibly go wrong? Greetings, Internet. Today I'm going to talk about a little show that came back in the day called Rant. It depicts the life of Mary, Queen of Scots from her engagement in France to her death, roughly. Now, initially when I started watching this show, I actually kind of liked it. It started out well for me, but then it quickly descended into cognitive chaos. When this show was seen, critics shook their head, I shook my head. Mary, Queen of Scots, rolled in her grave and shook her decapitated head, and we're going to see why. Queen Adelaide King plays Mary, Queen of Scots, who is fun, intelligent, and sensitive and has quite the character arc throughout the show. And Pretty Boy of the Century, Toby Regbo, plays Francis, who is the Dauphin and later King of France. Yeah, see, I don't actually really know how to feel about his character. In real life, he was a 14-year-old dwarf kid with scoliosis and a whole bunch of other diseases, and Mary was actually 5'11". So, he kind of gets an upgrade. Kind of. So, this show decides to take any attempt at historical accuracy and shit on it. And you know what? Fine. That's fine. I'm okay with that, as long as you do it with taste, which this show did not do. Now, I don't mean to bash any of the actors of this show. I think they did a phenomenal job with the script that they were given. Take these same actors and put them in a better written show and you've guaranteed yourself like 5 Emmys. I also don't intend to bash any of the fans of this show because I understand why people like this show so much. It is the same formula for teen dramas has worked before, so why wouldn't it work this time? And this show is a teen drama. It has the same YouTube song edits, ship names, a separate fan base for the lead actor called the Reg Boners. Oh my god. And a real life ship name for the actors because they just acted that well.
And apparently our shipping name in reality is Trivializing, and then our shipping on the show is Frary.
Yeah.
You have a real-life shipping name and a show shipping name.
Yeah, the fans desperately want us to date, and it's just never going to happen, and they're just going to have to live with...
Don't say that.
What happened, they're just going to have to live with...
Anyways, back to Francis. 1 minute he's lovable, nice, and decisive.
I can't help thinking that every man, even a king, should have some kind of skill.
Well, you're going to be a great ruler someday. Isn't that enough?
I hope I will be. But I meant a real skill. One that I didn't inherit. Wasn't given to me and can't be taken away.
And the next minute he can be overreacting, stupid, and asshole-ish.
Are you alone? Are you with someone?
If you're ever going to be the Queen of France, you need to understand something. Kings do not answer to their wives.
After that little encounter, Mary needs to find comfort, and Well, sup, you beautiful bastard. Bash is the half-brother of Francis. He did not exist in real life. He is just a character created for this show to hire Torrance Coombs and create a love triangle between the three. And this is the other thing. Relationships in teen dramas are often really overly dramatic and rocky. These shows just break up couples for legit reasons, but often also for really stupid reasons, just to get butts in for this next episode and to get their audiences to swoon for the relationship even more. It's a cheap way of creating drama. Every teen drama does it. I mean, just take a look at the number of breakups and makeups between Francis and Mary. They meet. Francis doesn't want to date her. She almost marries Thomas. They date, they break up, they make up, they drift apart. He says he loves her and they make love. He proposes to her. She runs off and almost marries Bash, but they get married. They break up for a month, they make up, the entire season is then spent them either fighting or making up. Season 2 comes, he insults her for her miscarriage, which causes them to fight. He says he'll try to fix their marriage, he tells her to pass out to Scotland. She's lost all faith in him. She says she wants them to live separate lives, they make up. She says she wants them to live separate lives again. He allows her to see Condé, he almost dies. He survives and tells Mary to fuck off. She tries to apologize but fails, they make up, he dies, he comes back to life, and then he dies. Relationship goals. All of these TV shows do it, but they at least attempt to hide it by doing it at a slower pace.
Together. You have great friends. I kind of think that's where we need to start again.
You just want to be friends?
No, I'm not saying that. So much has happened, and I don't know this Emily.
I think you'll like her.
I know I will, but I want to make sure she still likes me.
You're right. I did miss out on a lot of high school because of our relationship. And although I don't regret any of it, I think that when I go away to college, I should be single.
Yeah, that's the right choice, Arya.
Point is, you're back and we're together.
Do you know the reason we're together? Because Klaus granted us permission to be together. I'm sorry, but I can't live like that.
I see, so this is about Klaus.
No, this is about me. He killed my mom and got away with it. I can't just start caring about sociology and frat parties.
You haven't even given it a chance.
I didn't come here to give it a chance.
You came here to say goodbye.
I need to go after him. I need to find a way to destroy his life like he destroyed mine.
You know what, Tyler? For someone who hates Klaus, you certainly sound a lot like him.
Rain just made it so transparent that they were trying to be dramatic by blowing through with this shit at the speed of light, and it frustrated me quickly. Thankfully, Rain has graced us with my second favorite breakup reasoning of all time.
We have too much power to let anger and jealousy cloud our judgment. And our situation, well, it lets others get between us.
Not if we swear to be true to one another, not if we promise.
What is our engagement but a promise? And it means nothing. Because unless it makes sense for France, I can't marry you. And if a better option arises for Scotland, you need to take it. It is your duty.
What are you saying?
We have positioned ourselves for the worst sort of pain. When it is right for France, should you agree, I will be by your side, fully committed. Until then, you can spend your time with others. I have to accept that.
You mean I do? Is this really about Olivia?
Someone needs to take control of things between us. I can do it. I can keep my distance. Even if it means releasing you to another. Anyone. But not my brother.
Is that a warning, little brother?
Yes, it is.
Now, technically, that is not the main reason for the breakup. What happened was that Francis's ex returned, and initially Mary was actually quite understanding of the fact that he has a past. Do you see what I mean by this show started out well? But then, unsurprisingly, Francis and Olivia kiss, which pisses off Mary, so she gets drunk, she kisses Bash, Francis gets pissed, and then...
I can't promise you anything.
Now, I have to ask this. Is it really that easy to get someone to kiss you? Like, just have some wine and, like, make an emotional speech or something and then they'll just kiss you or something? Like, isn't it really that hard to just, like, turn away from it? I'm genuinely asking this. I don't mean this as a diss. I'm genuinely asking this. Please tell me. This is what I mean by Francis's character just being kind of random. He's a nice guy most of the time, but sometimes he acts like an asshole, but, like, he doesn't know he's acting like an asshole. He's like a little puppy that you need to tell to not eat his own shit. But take a look at the conflicts that this show has in their relationship. An arranged engagement, politics, a miscarriage, blackmail, rape, a child by another woman. These are all serious issues that happened to people at the time, and this show does try to depict how that society dealt with it. It's a historical drama in the sense that it is trying to show that the views and the culture that society had at that time. But the thing is that everything that happens in this show revolves around this main idea of frairy. And herein lies the main cognitive dissonance. You see, on one hand, you have this message of that the viewer is getting of this society where love really was irrelevant and all that mattered was politics and the practical stuff. It wasn't really so love focused at all. But on the other hand, you know that this show is banking on the idea of you trying to ship this main couple. And that's the thing, the historical drama and the teen drama aspect of this show, they fight each other. They don't come together in harmony. Now, the idea of trying to make a teen drama intertwined with politics, history, and showing the harsher realities isn't I'm not against that. But it is done much better in a 21st century show, BBC Three's Clique. Clique is a show that addresses various hard issues such as feminism, corruption, pimping out, menonism, SJWism, anti-SJWism, rape, false rape cases, suicide, and it addresses all of these issues in merely 12 episodes. But it does have aspects of a teen drama, or at least a British teen drama, which is partying, love, sex, and friendships. But then the thing is that these two aspects of this TV show actually come together in harmony. They don't fight each other. They don't create any dissonance. For one, the viewer goes on this journey with the main protagonist, Holly. The audience discovers all of this dark stuff alongside Holly and in a way comes off edge with the protagonist and discovers the world through her eyes. And Holly reacts to all of this stuff in a way that any teenager would, any person would, in fact. The show does not hide from showing just how mentally taxing and traumatizing everything is for her. In Rain, they do try to approach a sort of concept where Mary is a naive young girl at the beginning, and then she discovers and changes as she discovers the world around her. But then the thing is that it's made less powerful by the fact that the viewer does not go on this journey with her. The viewer is thrown right into all of the political intrigue right from the very beginning. And also, again, this would have been a much more interesting focus rather than relationship drama and a couple. Moving on. At episode 7, you have a love confession.
I couldn't sleep.
Mary.
Why? Why did you come back? You didn't know the gold was poisoned. It was 1 man against 10. They would have killed you. Why would you do something
Because
so
I love you.
What?
Because it's pretty obvious now that for us to stay sane, we need to be together.
But what about not having control of our life? And France and Scotland.
There has been entirely too much thinking going on.
Isn't it like obvious by now that he's in love with you? I mean, like, you two have been like spending so much time together and like kissing each other, and it's like obvious by the body language and like common sense that he loves you. Yet they play it up as like such a big deal. It's like, oh my god, it's the love confession. So when he's like, because I love you, she's like, what? But this isn't the main point. The next day, Francis proposes to Mary.
I'll pressure you and listen to you and argue with you and love you until the day I die. Together we'll decide what is right as husband and wife. Marry me. Say yes.
Yes. Yes.
They're engaged. He proposes to her. You're already engaged. I mean, sure, it's cute and all, but you're already engaged. I guess the point actually was that Francis is trying to say that, hey girl, you know what? I can't wait to get married with you, so let's just do it today. Last night was just testing the grounds. It was just seeing what we're working with. It was just rehearsals, and yeah, let me tell you, I love what we're working with. So you know what, girl, let's just get married today. Let's just cut out all the bullshit. No. There's no conversation like that. No. Will you marry me? Well, yeah, bitch, we're already engaged. But of course, that doesn't happen. You see, Catherine tells Mary about the prophecy and she believes it, so she just runs off without an explanation. And well, she can't marry Francis, but she has to marry someone because of Scotland. Well, sup, you beautiful bastard! She tries to get him legitimized, and then she's about to marry him, and Catherine tries to kill them, so she gets imprisoned, and then Clarissa kidnaps Charles and Henry, Mary kills her, and then Nostradamus' vision changes, you see, because it's supposed to be the Queen's firstborn that is affected by the prophecy, and that was Clarissa, not Francis. So now that Clarissa is dead, Francis is in the clear. So basically, Nostradamus, after all of that happening, Nostradamus is basically like, no, just kidding, ignore me, get married, it's fine, get married. And then Mary does the whole typical love triangle. Ooh, I don't know who I love. And then she ultimately, unsurprisingly, decides that she loves Francis more. And then... Nostradamus' vision changes again, because turns out Clarissa didn't actually die. Now, after episode 13, I took a little break and reclaimed my sanity, and then I came back to this show. I actually kind of started to like it. It kind of became like a stupid guilty pleasure thing for me. Also, season 1, episode 14 has some of the best sex talk I have ever seen.
Babies.
Excuse me?
Your duty, in case you are unaware, is to produce an heir and ensure the future of your line.
Yes, I am well aware of that. Thank you. Very long.
Rub this on your chest 10 minutes before lovemaking. It may burn. Ignore it. And this on his... well, you know. When you detect interest. After, lie absolutely still for an hour. And then take 2 of these. No, not these. These were in the wrong cabinet. Never touch these.
You acted so strangely when you returned with Francis. You're pregnant, aren't you? Fast work. Well done. There is no better way for a royal mistress to secure her place. Look at Diane. If I could have managed it, but the king is well versed in avoiding such issues.
Don't congratulate me. Did you? Have you ever
ended a pregnancy? No. The king is well stocked to avoid such issues.
Well stocked with?
Well, he covers it. If you don't know, you shouldn't be having sex.
I'm not sure if there's any point to that tonight.
What do you mean?
One thing I've learned from my mother's many lectures and insights on pregnancy is that there are some days when it's more likely and days when it is less likely. You've been vigorous in trying to achieve what we both want, but I don't think it's going to happen tonight.
Vigorous. I like that. I thought you did too. I don't make love to you because I want a baby. I want a baby because I love you.
That's enough of that. Before getting married, Francis had a one-night stand with Lola, because of course he did. Lola ends up pregnant, but she finds herself a husband, Lord Julian, but we can't have that, you see, because we need her to create tension in the French court, and this show achieves that in the most hilarious way. Lord Julian makes her promise to never question her past, which is already a big red flag, and he is actually about to run away with her dowry, but then he doesn't do that because he loves her. And then later you find out, turns out he isn't Lord Julian at all. He's just a random named Remy who took over his identity when Lord Julian died in an accident. Oh my god. And Lola, when she hears of this, she actually stays with him and tries and helps him fool this other guy. So Remy has to run away again, and he tells her to get back to French court, and Lola is in labor, and Mary finds out that her son is actually Francis's. Mary wants to go back to Scotland, but he doesn't trust her half-brother, and he fears that he will try to kill her. So he forbids her from going to Scotland, but she insists. She says that she has to take the risk. So how does he stop her? He locks her in a tower! He locks his wife in a tower! Why would you do that? How? This was the way that they decided to create relationship drama, and is this the guy that the audience is supposed to be swooning after? And look at how this show shows it. Look, just look. The audacity to focus the camera on Francis and have the audience sympathize with him because, oh, this is so hard for him to do, you know? He doesn't want to lock his wife in a tower, but he has to. Like, oh, feel bad for him. No. Is this supposed to be the main guy? Yo, Catherine, looks like we're gonna need a few more of your special serums because turns out your whole son is a massive dick. Yeah. Suddenly the 14-year-old Francis doesn't seem so bad now, does he? You know, I don't care if it's about, like, character faults or whatever. I don't like you. So, what do I want to do with Francis?
You want to know whether to fuck this guy or kill him. Maybe both.
Meanwhile, Henry be going mad. And then there's this twist.
First, I must kill my son and wed his wife.
You know what the funny thing is? Henry's descent into dragon sickness is actually written quite well. You know, they give this the time and nuance and of course humor, so when this twist suddenly comes all of a sudden, it's actually kind of believable. So, good job, writers. Good job. So Francis realizes that his father is mad, so he kills him, and then Francis and Mary become king and queen. Season 2, episode 3 is a good episode. You see, in this episode, the couple is just working together and there is no proclamations of love every 2 seconds, no fighting, constant breaking up, no making out or sex scenes. See? It's possible. It's possible, guys. It's possible. Well, except for the last 2 minutes anyway, where I assume someone came back from their coffee break. And it gets better. Mary is finally pregnant. Before she miscarries literally 20 minutes into the runtime anyway. Which makes me wonder why have this miscarriage in the first place. Mary becomes frustrated because Francis is acting a bit weird. And that's actually because he's being blackmailed. And when she questions him about it, he says this.
Can't fix. Something that you can't change. These secret visits to your son. And the baby that I lost. You worry that I can't do it. Do you worry that I can't bear you a child?
Yes. I worry because as a king and a man, I want heirs. Is that what you want to hear? Does it bring us closer for you to know that your failure disappoints me beyond words?
Another random bout of assholery from Francis. Pourquoi, Francis? Pourquoi? Et tu es très gentil. Qu'est-ce que c'est, bitch? Now, let's talk about the rape. That scene was pretty intense and traumatizing. And it was acted brilliantly and made brilliantly. This show gets the PTSD aspect of rape spot on. And I love this scene with Mary and Catherine.
You know, they said that he wasn't in the castle, that he wasn't here at all. And when they realized that they'd failed, that's when they...
Oh, my dear child.
No! No.
What did they do to you?
The Protestants came looking for Francis, and they were going to kill him. I fought them off. I hit one of them in the head, and the other one...
I'm only going to ask you this once, so we are both clear on what you've endured this night. Were you raped? I know you don't want to be touched, that's all right. But you're safe. I don't know how you managed to escape, but you did. You are alive. You will survive this. I know this. Because I survived, you know that too. They tried to destroy you by taking your pride and your strength, but those things cannot be taken, not from you. Not ever. We're going to change your clothes, fix your hair. We are going to erase any mark of their hands on you.
Please leave me be.
We are. We are going to do this for you, and for Francis, and for Scotland, and for France. They tried to diminish a king tonight by degrading a queen, and they will not succeed, because the world will never know what they did to you.
It's not possible.
It is, because you will walk out of here and you will face your court as if this never happened.
No, I can't. I can't.
Yes, you can. You have to. Mary, your guards saw you. You must put to rest any rumors immediately. These next moments of your life will either define you as a victim or a powerful queen untouched by a failed assassination attempt. They will define who you are perceived to be, your place in history. Do not let them win. Trust me. Trust me and let me help you. Trust that I can get you through this, because I swear to you that I can.
Since Francis is partially responsible for this, Mary reluctantly blames him.
Mary, I've been looking for you everywhere. We've caught and executed 9 of the conspirators whose role in the attack was confirmed. But Severin...
He is dead. As are his accomplices. You were wise to use Condé. He helped me find them.
You killed them. Together.
There wasn't time. I had to act. I didn't want them to escape. But you can release the rest of the prisoners, Francis. It's over. It's over.
Mary.
This notion that we could put the pieces back together. I wanted to believe that we could. That we just needed to find these men and punish them. But now I realize I can't change the fact that
You blame me for what happened.
I know it's irrational, but it feels forever linked to you and to us.
Mary, I was desperately trying to save your life. What would we have done differently if you'd known the truth? What good would it have done for me to put you in that kind of danger?
I'm not sure. I don't know if it would have gone differently or better, but you never gave us a chance. And now we'll never know. I've had some time to think. I believe that we should lead separate lives.
What does that mean?
That we will continue to work together as king and queen. But that I will be your wife in name only.
I can't do that. I won't.
We wouldn't be the first people in history to do so.
If you're talking about my parents, we are nothing like them. I would do anything for you, Mary. I love you. And you love me.
And look where that love has brought us.
The thing is, I actually don't hate this so much. Mary is right. It is irrational to blame Francis, but she has just gone through something traumatic. Her mind is all over the place. So even though it is irrational, I can see why Mary is blaming Francis. I would have been perfectly happy if Mary would have just taken some time to heal and then eventually get intimate with Francis. In fact, this was a perfect opportunity to show how couples or how people in general deal with this sort of situation. But that doesn't happen. This is instead used to create a love triangle. Because Mary grows closer to Condé and loves him, and she wants to be with him so she can heal. and Francis allows it. Mary goes out of her way to be with Condé despite the risks and causes a lot of chaos, including leading up to Condé actually trying to coup the crown. You see, she cannot touch any man, including Francis, but she eventually gets comfortable touching Condé. And he was like loyal to her this whole time, this stuff. She tries to warm up to Francis, but then there's this whole Francis's son in the way. And of course, they are drifting apart because the show did give Francis another random bout of assholery.
He has feelings for you. And now everyone knows it.
And you think that I encouraged him? Francis, have you not been hearing a word I've said? I can barely stand to touch my own husband. Why would I ever encourage another?
I know you don't think you will heal, but I know that you will. You are a survivor and the strongest person I've ever known. It may be too soon to talk about this. And it is excruciating to have to say this to you given what you've been through, but Mary, this notion of separate lives, living separate lives is not a solution, it is a threat. And not just to our marriage, but to our rule. When you give us an heir someday, as I have every faith that you will, there cannot be the slightest doubt about our child's paternity. Doubts like these start wars. They put your country at risk as well as your life.
My life, and not yours.
I know it is unfair. My mother was almost beheaded for infidelity, while my father had every woman that he wanted, but that is the way that it is. Right or wrong. I remind you of this because I care for you.
Oh, is that caring? It sounds to me like a man trying to tighten his grip on a woman. You'll understand if I don't stay to hear more.
You know what's funny? As my Indian, slightly conservative dad was just walking into the room, he heard her say, "It seems like you're just trying to exercise control of a woman." He actually ends up saying, "She's right!" Anyways, after a more hopeful warming up, she breaks it off again, saying Francis and her should lead separate lives. Again. And the reasoning is pretty stupid as well. Somehow Elizabeth being after Mary means that she will hold Francis responsible for this because his stupidity led to the Protestant shit. Francis loves her, yet she wants to break up for his happiness, or she doesn't want him to be in danger. She basically just pulled the same shit as Francis did in season 1. This is another example of a teen drama using cheap breakup tactics and love triangles to create drama, and to get people to root even more for the main couple. Every teen drama does it, but Rain takes it to a whole nother level. This show used a rape, and to an extent even the miscarriage, to create a love triangle. This is unacceptable. These people are gravely trivializing such serious topics. The only thing that matters to them is this shitfest of a relationship and that it has drama. Relationships aren't even supposed to be like this. And I'm not saying that there should be less conflicts. It's not about having less conflicts. It's about how people deal with those conflicts that shows how good a relationship is. Look, if you're going to have on and off relationships or toxic and abusive relationships, fine. But make that clear. Do not glorify that as the main ship or anything. Look at the Rain, one of the Rain Wikias itself. Seriously, read it. The two had chemistry the moment they set eyes on one another, and attraction between them was ignited. It was true love at first sight. Yeah, is that why he went on to fuck Olivia? He was not so ready to settle down. Frances became attracted to Mary due to her fiery passion. These two not only had electric chemistry, but their conflict between love and duty was truly compelling. There is an entire section of this called the intimacy level, seriously. And just read it. Look, intimacy level. Deeply in love with each other. Had strong feelings for each other. Frances was very protective of her and cared about her. They would have died for each other. Made love. No shit. They always chose each other. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to make fun of the fans here. It's just that this is an impressionable audience that thinks shit like this is true love. Do you see the problem? You have young teenage audiences and constant breaking up and fighting and cheating as their model for what relationships are supposed to be like. What do you think will happen? Anyways, after causing so much fuckery, Mary says this.
Francis, I know I have hurt you. We have hurt each other. But there is something I've learned, and that is we must put this behind us. We are king and queen, chained together as surely as prisoners in a dungeon. And if we are not to suffer as prisoners do, we must make peace with each other. It's our only chance of survival in this life, without going mad with grief. Do you think you could ever forgive me? Please, if you are angry, say something.
You ask for forgiveness. How can I even consider it when Condé is still out there, most likely with agents of Elizabeth? France has been through so much. Most of this country is like dry tinder just waiting for a spark.
Prince Condé, no longer Prince of Condé, King Louis of France!
All that is needed is a face, a claim, a bloodline, and someone who is willing to die for the cause.
Later, she single-handedly fixes everything by stabbing Condé.
And I love you, Francis. I always have. Always.
See, because of this whole Condé debauchery, the audience doesn't like the protagonist for so long in season 2. The audience was just so irritated. I saw so many comments. They were so annoyed at this point. And because it's a long season, they stretched this triangle and frankly the whole season out way more than they should. Even if she blamed Francis for her rape, that's fine. I can get behind that. It's irrational, but I can accept it. But she knew that it's irrational, and even if she did blame Francis, she wouldn't just stop loving him all of a sudden. And she sure as hell wouldn't just get intimate with, fall in love with another guy and like, even though it causes so much chaos. This show is so stupid. So stupid, it hurts. And then they have Louis say these stripper-friendly lines.
To believe a new France under my rule would be better.
You know, I wanted you. You put a knife in me, and I still want you. Is that madness?
Louis, I did love you. I did.
Yeah, when it came to Francis and me, you saved him. Not because he's your king. Because your love for him is deeper, stronger.
I wish you hadn't made me choose.
You'll never know how sorry I am.
I hope you don't mind. I thought we should talk.
No, I don't mind at all.
You asked me if I could ever forgive you. For Condé. For everything that's happened. And at the time, I couldn't even conceive of it. I thought, if anything, it would take years.
Oh, wait. Even if it takes that long, not because we're wed, or because I have nowhere else to go, but because I love you.
You've proven that. And more.
Your mother would say we are stained by such choices. Such brutal and difficult choices we've made, but we can only do our best. Can we not make another choice? One equally hard, but so important. To commit our hearts to each other no matter what.
If only it were that easy.
It isn't. It's terrifying and nearly impossible, especially if we think we can save each other. We can't. We can only love each other. Francis.
They got picked together, yay. Shippers rejoice. Mary and Francis are not the only insane couple. Bash and Kenna were actually a couple that I was get behind. I was like, okay, fine, at least they're happy. But no. Apparently, he doesn't give her enough time, so she almost considers marrying Antoine, which is stupid. So Bash breaks things off with her, and then they promptly move on. Kenna just assumes that he's like totally moved on because he has a female friend who he sees in the woods. Now she turns out to be right, and that isn't even surprising. Like, we knew Delphine was gonna have some significance in that regard. That's what happens with any pretty person in these shows. But that's not what I'm interested in. Listen to this.
Spruce bark. It's good for treating infections and colds.
You hunt, you trap, you bring people back from the brink of death.
You mean the ladies at court can't do all that? Or read a man's past and future by touching him?
They're more interested in dancing and embroidery, but I think your skills are far more useful.
Oh, I'm glad you think so.
Yup, that's right. Who knew the not like other girls compliment ran back to the 16th century? By the way, the season 2 finale is the most out of place finale. It is the most weirdly paced finale ever. They, out of nowhere, they make Delphine some kind of an implied villain. She's accused of being a witch, and because the pacing of this episode is so all over the place, the minute Bash hears about it from a servant, he just like promptly just fucks Kenna right there and there. Like wow, dude. That's good faith in your girlfriend. But then he later breaks it up with her, and then she moves on and she leaves. She's out of the show. Moving on, Mary chooses Francis. He forgives her eventually, and then after 2 death scares, he dies. Seriously, why have 2 death scares? This obviously pissed off a lot of fans. I mean, first, why have 2 death scares? Why not just kill him once and be done with it? This show is like basically dangling Francis in front of the audience, like, ooh, is he gonna die? Also, like, see, the first 5 episodes of season 3 really made me nostalgic for when I used to like this show. Like, I just felt so sad after watching this. It's like, I miss when I used to like this show. According to the prophecy shit, his death makes no sense. Because Clarissa died. Bash killed Clarissa, and that healed Francis immediately. And throughout the whole show, it's implied that in order for Francis to survive, Clarissa has to die. They showed the whole white petal tree thing in the pilot, meaning that they were planning his death to be like that from the beginning. But the prophecy was satisfied with both the visions that Nostradamus had. The full vision he had was that because he found out that Clarissa was still alive, and that's why he thought that Francis would die 1 year into the marriage. And when this vision and when the year bleeding vision came to pass, Delphine brought him back to life, and which basically meant that Marie de Guise was killed, which means. And the prophecy was satisfied. The prophecy was satisfied the minute Bash killed Clarissa, but even if the whole second vision thing came to pass, Delphine still brought him back to life, and it was supernaturally satisfied because she did trade another life for it. You know, Marie de Guise. And this just, the fact that Francis died basically means that Clarissa and Marie de Guise just died so pointlessly. Like, why? See, according to the prophecy stuff, Francis shouldn't have died. But he should have died, because that's what happened historically. How does this show mess itself up so bad? Because keeping Francis alive means, well, being massively historically inaccurate, first of all, and you can't have Mary move to Scotland, and even if you did, it would be a hodgepodge, and the writers wouldn't know what to do with this character. Look, you made your bed, lay in it. When Francis finally dies, there's all kinds of reactions. As far as my reaction, I think the episode was acted brilliantly. And it definitely made me shake. Not cry, but shake. Definitely, yes. Of course I'm upset that Francis is dead. I mean, we'll be seeing no more Toby. But am I upset about Frary dying? No. Frary was dead to me in season 1, which is sad. I started the show shipping them, and I'm not a very romantic person. I rarely ship couples. Adelaide and Toby have a phenomenal chemistry together, and had they been in a different show, they could have created the best TV relationship. The Frary was dead to me the minute that it was clear that how cynically this show was treating the couple. The first season of Rain was epic, and then all go to hell. I still only watched only for Francis, and now he's dead, and there's no reason to that make me see the show again. I actually thought the first season sucked so bad that if I watched it any longer, my eyes would bleed. Dropped it halfway through. They made it so easy for me to stop watching this show. I wanted to stop for so long, but I stayed for Francis. Now I'm so done with this show. This is the main one. You people are so unrealistic. It's still a story of Mary, Queen of Scots, and this is how it went down. Both died. That you react so harshly over Francis being killed off is great. That means he was a well-written character. Rain is not a romantic soap opera. Get over your ship that completely blinds you. It's not above everything else. But darling commenter, it is a romantic soap opera. The show made itself that way. It didn't have to, but it made itself a soap opera when it could have been so much more. Now, another thing I want to talk about is Narcisse. He is the one that was responsible for basically blackmailing Francis with the information that he killed his own dad, and then basically caused him to pass like really Protestant discriminatory laws, which caused that uprising, and which ultimately led to her rape. Why on earth? Why did Francis finally catch him and then let him go? Like, why?
I see you will resort to anything to stay alive. You'll soon find out there are fates worse than death.
Is your idea of a punishment worse than death making him a Lobel again? I mean, I love me a complex character, but this is stupid. Of course he creates more mess. He's Narcisse. And I love a complex character, but I'm sick of the whole woman sees a good in a man and fixes him trope.
But your real aim was to push me away. And who else but Catherine would want that? I don't know what's more contemptible, the fact that she asked you to humiliate me or that you agreed.
I deserve that.
You're better than this. You don't have to be Catherine's lapdog.
He's manipulative. It's not Lola's job to fix him or see the good in him. She's only hurting herself in the process. I don't care how tragic of a past he has. He's a dangerous person that Lola is too good for. Listen, the only way you should even interact with a manipulative person is if you are the manipulative person. So he manipulates her again with the whole rat thing. She finds out and leaves him. She would rather be a hostage by Elizabeth. Good! Leave him, girl. And speaking of Elizabeth, as she has been looming over the entire season, we finally meet her.
Her Majesty, Queen Elizabeth.
Catherine de Medici. What a pleasure to meet one so legendary.
Oh, thank you.
Common lore is that your teeth are filed into points and your eyes are black with rage. And yet here you are, as lovely as a sunny day.
You radiate warmth and beauty yourself. Though I know that you are personally responsible for the death of nearly 1,000 men in France just this month alone. My son was nearly one of them.
No, you mustn't listen to gossip. I was told you'd come to ask something of us.
Ask? No. I've come to offer you something. The destruction of our mutual enemy, Mary, Queen of Scots.
Introducing Elizabeth Tudor, or as she's known as, Queen Elizabeth I.